Hey guys, welcome back to Just a Geek in the Garage. Today I want to talk about tools that I use most often. These tools that you see here in front of you, I probably use at least once a day. Where my other tools in the garage are used as needed, but these ones literally I probably touch at least once a day to do something. So I just kind of want to go over it to see, even though I have a garage full of tools, what I actually use on a day-to-day basis. So let's kind of go over this. So as you can see in front of me, probably the main tool that I use all the time is this Gordon multi-tool from Harbor Freight. This I'm aware is their kind of copy of the Leatherman Wave 2. Obviously Leatherman is a great brand, but it costs significantly more than this. This retails for about $39.99, but with a coupon can be had for a little bit cheaper. Where if it was the Leatherman version, I'm sure it would be 3 times that price. Probably definitely over $100. Lifetime warranty from Harbor Freight, so if anything ever happens to it, I can just go in and swap it out. I've had this thing now for maybe a year or so, and it has treated me very well. I haven't had any issues whatsoever. I do have Leatherman products as well, but nothing this nice. I have their little, I think it's called the Micra. It's like a nice little keychain one, but this one lives in my pockets pretty much 24/7 unless I'm at work. And basically the main thing I use this for, and you guys can probably agree with me that you probably use this tool a lot, is just going to be just your basic knife. I actually need to clean it up a little bit, but I mean, who doesn't get a lot of packages every day? I order from Amazon, eBay, stuff like that, so I tend to use this all the time, whether I'm opening up packages for me or a member of the family. A lot of times they ask to borrow this so they can open something up, but this by far is probably going to be my most used tool by a significant margin. From there, I mean, I can do a separate video on this if you guys want. If you want to, please leave a comment down below, and I can make a separate video on this and maybe a few of the other multi-tools that I own. But realistically, even though I think this is a 20-in-1, so 20 different tools, main thing is going to be the knife, and then outside of that is just using them as basically like needle nose pliers or a cutter. That's pretty much it. I mean, yes, this has scissors, and it has screwdrivers and can openers and saws and all the good stuff that you would expect from a multi-tool, but really it's the knife and the pliers that I use most often. This basically replaced my everyday carry, which used to be just a regular pocket knife. It was the Icon one for a while, because obviously it's very useful to have, but this by far my most used tool. After that is going to be pretty much these guys in front of you, pretty much on an equal basis. This one, just a pair of flush cuts. I do a lot of 3D printing, and when you're cutting filament and stuff like that, so replacing filament, you end up doing a lot of cutting, and these flush cuts work perfectly for that. From there, this little Mayhew pocket pry bar is awesome. I mean, it's basically in the shape of a regular, kind of almost like a slotted screwdriver, just a little bit thinner. So I can even use this as a screwdriver sometimes if I need to, but there's always something that I need to pry on, and something like this is perfect. The straight one I use the most often. I also have their curved version, and then kind of an honorable mention is Lyle makes their versions as well, which work really, really well. I have the snap-on versions also, but for some reason I tend to grab the Mayhew before I grab the snap-on. All right, from there, this guy right here, this is a little box cutter from Gordon, also Harbor Freight. Again, I open a lot of boxes, break down a lot of boxes, all that kind of stuff, and so usually I grab this thing multiple times a day. This reversible blade screwdriver, I just made a video on reversible blade screwdrivers of all the different ones that I own, and this basically was kind of my pick of the one that I use most often. Even though I have snap-on versions, I still tend to grab this one, and the main reason for that is these guys are so cheap and usually free from Harbor Freight on promotion, that I literally have one in every single room of my house, in the garage, in the kitchen, bedrooms, all that kind of stuff, because we all know there's always something to fix somewhere in the house, and most of the time if you have a number 1 or 2 Phillips and a slotted screwdriver, that's going to fix the majority of your problems. So I use a tool like this, almost every single day. And then last up, which honestly surprised me, is going to be these little slip joints needle nose from Snap-on. So this is the 4-inch, or I think, the 5-inch version. They also have it in a 7-inch and a 9-inch. And, even though I bought a set that came with all three, thinking that I was going to use the 7 or 9-inch a lot, this one actually comes in handy much more often. I mean, it's a perfect size, especially for me 3D printing, ripping support things and things like that off of prints. This works great. Anytime I'm fixing something small, it has these, the Talon grip on the teeth, like most of the Snap-on pliers. So, these are definitely very expensive for a pair of pliers. I think these just by themselves sell for somewhere in the range of about $50, where, for even a larger one anywhere else would be, a fraction of that. But I think these are worth their weight in gold. I'm waiting for, hopefully Harbor Freight's Icon will make something like this, because they make the 9-inch version, just not the 5-inch version. So I'm hoping they come up with a line of these smaller pliers, because they're extremely useful. And I'm sure Harbor Freight can sell something like this for, say, $15 as its regular price versus, I think it's 56 if I'm not mistaken on the website. And then an honorable mention to this one, which I just got recently, is going to be the regular slip joint version of this, the non-needle nose. So these are pretty cool as well, but definitely don't get used nearly as much as this. So again, these are the tools that I use on a daily basis. I can't think of a day in my recent past where I haven't touched all of these tools. And, sometimes you don't need a huge tool bag to get the job done. Sometimes you just need a few faithful tools. So let me know down below what you guys think. What are your favorite tools? What tools do you use every day? And as you can see here, only one of them happens to be Snap-on. The rest of these things are relatively inexpensive. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe.